You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Emergency podcast. Obviously, we did the Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins preseason preview game. But Mike McDaniel had to speak after we recorded and said something which we have to address before the game. So we thought we'd go live. Before I introduce or say shout out Charlie, shout out to Patreon members, Lane and Tim Carroll. What's up, guys? They are live in the comments. Once again, we appreciate you joining the Patreon. We'll discuss all that more and later. But Mr. Charlie Touche, how are you?
Y'all know what time it is, man. We in a different office today, Kadeem. We in the car. Like we doing the podcast from the car. Is my audio good?
Audio's good. We can hear you. Let us know in the comments whether you can hear Charlie all good.
Hey, appreciate everybody rocking with us on the Patreon. Just like Kadeem said, couple updates to why we had to have a episode after the game preview episode. I don't know if it's an emergency, Kadeem. Like, you be spicing a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But so yeah. So Coach McDaniel came out. You know what? It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond but across the world. I'm your boy Charlie Touche. I got my co-host Kadeem Simmons with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. So Coach McDaniel came out and said the starters are playing in the last preseason game, Kadeem, and it's weird. It's a bit awkward in the NFL where there used to be a uniform preseason week where all the starters will play, and that's it. Like the whole league knew this was going to be the dress rehearsal. Now it's all over the place. Some team playing starters, some teams benching starters, some teams playing starting quarterbacks, some team resting starting quarterback. It's all over the place now. Tua is supposed to play again, right? What did you think about that when you heard it?
I was shocked. I think we had a number of guests on over the past few weeks, and the consensus with most of the guests and ourselves as well was that if Teron Armstead wasn't healthy enough to play in the preseason, which we didn't think he would play in the preseason anyway, but if Teron Armstead wasn't playing, then you probably are going to put Tua out. And then when Tua didn't play in the first game, we were kind of like, well, if he doesn't play in the second game, then he won't play at all. He played the second game, first throw is an interception, and then he leads that touchdown drive. I was like, cool, that's Tua done and dusted. Looks okay. Obviously, the interception wasn't good enough, but the drive after that was fine. Rest him now. And yeah, like you said, Mike McDaniel was like, oh, no, I'm playing starters. So or to paraphrase him, he basically said that the plan was to play Tua and the starters for more than a series, but in less than a half. He did say that could change after he talked to coaches after practice on Thursday. So there's still every chance that he's like, you know what, actually, we're not going to see the starters. But it's expected he plays a tad. And while I don't like it, if it's getting more rust out, then I can't hate it too much.
So I don't know if I'm going to have audio issues because I'm not on Wi-Fi. I'm out here on the streets. I'm in these streets. You already know. But something else happened, Kadeem. Isaiah Simmons was traded from Arizona to the Giants for a 7th round pick. Are you kidding me, bro? A 7th round pick. What did you think about that? And remind people of who Isaiah Simmons is.
So Isaiah Simmons, I believe, was the 8th pick in the 2020 draft, I think it was. And I think a lot of people, including ourselves, went into that draft going, do not let Isaiah Simmons fall to Brian Flores, because he lost his Swiss Army knife piece in Minka Fitzpatrick, as in let him walk for a trade to the Steelers. It was like you're going to be replacing with someone who's could play that role better. The Dolphins didn't take him. He flew to the Cardinals, but he hasn't really lived up to the hype in Arizona. And when I saw him go for a 7th, my thing was like, could we not get him? It's a 7th round pick. If it doesn't work out, it is what it is. If it does work out, then you've managed to pick up a 1st round player for a 7th round pick. And something the Dolphins have done over the past few years of is it Isaiah Wynn, the Titans offensive lineman? It doesn't know his name, I apologize. But yeah, I was surprised and shocked he went for a 7th. I'm a bit annoyed the Dolphins didn't go for him, especially with the injuries at defense, at the DB position. But is what it is. Very quickly, shout out to Tim Caro, says loving the jersey cards. This is the Go Time Dolphins black smoke jersey with the wrong number on it. The captain's patch as well. Oh, sorry, the 5th. Yeah, the perfect season 50 patch and the captain's patch. And just very quickly, yeah, it says Go Time Dolphins. And Lane says, I'm out here in the streets too, Charlie, listening while I'm driving. So, Lane, we appreciate that so much. Thank you very much.
Hey.
Yeah, Charlie, what did you make of the Isaiah Simmons for a 7th round pick trade?
Hey, just for clarification, I am not driving and podcasting. I just want to, show that to the people. I'm not driving and podcasting. But appreciate you, Lane. Listen, I was taken aback that Arizona's where linebackers go to die. Hassan Reddick, they didn't know how to use him. He left. He's performing. Same thing with Isaiah Simmons. They don't know how to use him. He's gonna leave and he's gonna perform. Bro, when the Dolphins, there was a thought that we were like, yo, the Dolphins might not take Tua and take Isaiah Simmons, and the whole world's gonna collapse. You know what I'm saying? Like, we thought that was a possibility. When you tell me, Kadeem, that the Dolphins can use linebacker help, and we have this Super Bowl window that we're in, I am perplexed by why we didn't bring in Isaiah Simmons. Like, at least give them the 7th, rent him for 1 season, and this is our Super Bowl window. Look, if it don't work out, we brought you here for a 7th, and then we let you test free agency. Like, it was like it's the biggest no-brainer. He can play every position under your defense except D tackle. He's 6'4", 230-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like, the man can play linebacker, inside, outside, corner, nickel, safety. It's the wildest thing. So to rent him for a 7th round pick and know that, okay, we probably won't re-sign him next year, but you have him this year. Like, it's a no-brainer to me. Like, so I don't know why we wouldn't do that. Like, I got to imagine Chris Greer went to Fangio and said, what you think about this rental? And Fangio was probably like, oh, now we're good in those positions, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know about all that. But, man, I was shocked to not see him come to like the Dolphins even have a conversation like, yo, we could rent him for 1 season. Even though we're not going to re-sign him, we can bring him here for this Super Bowl season.
To be fair, the Dolphins did sign linebacker AJ Johnson on Thursday. Johnson does have history in the Vic Fangio defense. They were together in Denver, been injured the past few years, but they have added linebacker help. And then today being Friday, they brought in a defensive tackle. Where was it? Jamal Woods, and apparently we gave Jamal Woods a 2-year deal. Which kind of shocked me. Obviously, we have no defensive tackles on the roster at the end of the season, But I would have thought if you're going to give someone a 2-year deal, it would have been Brandon Pilley, who's done pretty well in preseason. Again, shout out to Lane. It would have been nice to attempt to trade for him being Isaiah Simmons, especially for that cheap. We done goofs. Yeah, it's one of those things where, like you said, Charlie, we probably wouldn't have extended him, but it's competition for places, and it then becomes a position battle over the season between friend of the podcast Brandon Jones and Isaiah Simmons, and it's like, listen, best man wins the contract.
No.
You don't think so?
It wouldn't have been Isaiah Simmons, Brandon Jones. No, it would have been Isaiah Simmons and a linebacker. Like, and then if you bring him in as a linebacker, you can move him around to safety or corner as you need him. But we wouldn't have displaced Brandon Jones, friend of the podcast, for Isaiah Simmons. We just adding as much collective talent as we lost 6 corners last year. It would have been nice to have Isaiah Simmons on that team last year, to move him around if we needed him. So whoever's behind Brandon Jones, it might have been Trey Williams, Nick Needham. Those are the people who would have been expendable if you bring in Isaiah Simmons.
But again, we lost 6 DBs last year. So then why would you put in Isaiah Simmons as a linebacker? Like, Isaiah Simmons can play DB, like you said. So if you've obviously got, again, it might not be Brandon, friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones, but it's also Deshaun Elliott is only here for a year. Like, there's a few, there's at least battles across multiple positions where Isaiah Simmons can make a difference. Also, very quickly, shout out to friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday. Have a great one. Hope you ready for the season. Don't have too much fun. But yeah, shout out to friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt. Very, very quickly, the latest, or is there a latest with trade talks with Jonathan Taylor and the Colts? It seems like the Dolphins are still pushing, but from what we're hearing, it's kind of like a standoff. Neither team or neither side wants to budge too much. And I see some people on social media saying, if Chris Greer doesn't get Jonathan Taylor, then he has to be fired. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm not commenting on that. That's foolishness. That's foolishness. But I will say this. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There are reports that the Dolphins tried to trade for Saquon Barkley before the draft. There are reports that the Dolphins tried to trade for Dalvin Cook before the draft, and we know how much the Dolphins flirted with Dalvin Cook. Now there's a recent report that the Dolphins have reached out to the Raiders about Josh Jacobs, and the Raiders said he wasn't even on the market. Then you had, I want to say there was one more running back in that conversation too, but now we're here with Jonathan Taylor. Where there's smoke, there's fire, for sure. The Dolphins want a running back. And from what I understand, the Colts have declined our trade. They probably want more. I just find it hard to believe. I don't know what's going to happen with the Colts. If the Jonathan Taylor is not traded, they will probably keep him on the pup for six weeks of the regular season. He'll come back, have some type of injury that's nagging for the rest of the year, and he won't play a game, but he'll get an accrued season. And then I wonder what the conversation is. Are the Colts going to tag him and do the same dance next year and pay him a free $12 million for him to do exactly what he's doing now? Or are they just going to let him walk? Like, all right, well, now you're going to walk, and the Colts aren't going to get anything for him. And then you're going to have the best running back on the free agent market since – what's your boy name who played in Philly, who played in the Cowboys? What's that dude's name? And he went to the Titans. What is this dude's name?
What
DeMarco
position?
Murray.
Oh.
Like, Jonathan Taylor is – DeMarco Murray.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor is going to be the best running back on the free agent market since DeMarco Murray. That I can remember. I could be missing one, but I think that's about it. But yeah, man, so the Colts got to make a move. You know what I'm saying? And I just think the Dolphins are – Kadeem, we had on the last podcast where I said you're going to see a clip surface where Coach McDaniel said what he said about running backs. And in his last conference, his press conference is his last media availability, he mentioned how there's 1,200 plays on offense, about 1,200 plays on offense per season. If you have a balanced attack, that's 600 pass plays, 600 running plays. And if you break it down some more, you don't want your star running back having 600 touches, right? So now you're going to break those 600 touches up with multiple running backs. But what it sounds like, the Dolphins want a bell cow back, the traditional bell cow back. And I'm not opposed to it, bro. I keep warming up to it. But if we don't have one, I'm okay with it. Now, let's think about this. From what we understand, Mike McDaniel fell out of his chair 2 drafts ago. His first draft with Chris Greer, when he couldn't get his running back that went to San Fran. It was reported, right? So we don't know that that's the running back, but we believe that that's the running back. I can't remember his name either. He went to San Fran. But yeah, Mike McDaniel fell out the chair when we couldn't draft him. Then the report is Mike McDaniel wanted to go A-Chain in the 2nd round, and Chris Greer told him no, and then we got A-Chain in the 3rd round. So he really wants a running back. And now you hear all these reports this season where we try to trade for multiple star running backs. So, hey, I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. And I'll just tell you, the window is closing on Buffalo. And our window, Super Bowl window, started last year, but Tua was hurt. Now we got this year and next year, but the 3rd year is going to be the hardest. So we have to win now. Now, my thing is, if you look at previous teams that went all in, you got the Rams, cap oblivion, right? The Bucks went all in, cap is all jacked up. None of these boys are coming back anytime soon. Who else you had? You had the Patriots once upon a time. Do the Patriots even look like they're going to fill out another Super Bowl anytime soon? But this is what it looks like. So if you're going to go all in, you got to come home with the hardware. And I don't mind going all in, and I'm here for it.
So the running back I think you're talking about is Tyrion Davis-Price in the 3rd round to the 49ers in the 2022 NFL draft. You mentioned earlier the running back the Dolphins were supposedly after during this offseason. So Saquon Barkley, Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs. The rumors or the reports that I've seen when talking about the running backs is that the other one was Jahmyr Gibbs in the draft. And we're kind of like, the Dolphins wanted to get Jahmyr Gibbs. Obviously, they loved the Von A-Chain, but Gibbs was the guy who we would assume would have taken over to be the bell cow in this offense. It's one of those things where, as they say, was it show, don't tell, or tell, don't show, whatever way you want to put it, for Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel say, we love this running back room. They brought the entire room back from last year. Their actions in trying to get another running back says to everyone, including the Colts, you don't love the running back room as much as you say in public. If you're trying to get another running back and it's clear it's a bell cow running back, the Colts are going to play hardball. As Tim says, Colts want more, but we'll have to take the best they can get, surely. I think that's probably what people assume. There's a lot of people saying that it might take a push from Jonathan Taylor to be like, hey, guys, I'm done here. Like, I'm not playing for you guys again. Let me go work out with the Dolphins. That's where I want to go. It's amazing that the best players in the NFL want to come to Miami. Shows what they're building there. But yeah, they say the deadline's Tuesday. The deadline is not Tuesday. The deadline is week 8 of the NFL season when the trade window closes. That is the deadline. And as you said, if nothing gets done by then yeah, at some point in the previous 2 weeks, I guess, Jonathan Taylor will be available to play, probably pick up a back injury, picking up a kid or lifting weights. And back injuries are very hard to diagnose. Or one of those injuries where it's like, we've scanned it, it looks okay, but he says it's hurting, so we're not going to risk it. So we will see how it goes. Very, very quickly as well, the great Finns fan says they want to see the jersey, so I will try my best. Bear me to Charlie. If you start talking, I will try and get the jersey as best as I can in frame.
Yeah. So, Zach Sealer is nursing an injury as well. Zach Sealer was seen on the field nursing an injury. He tried to muscle his way through it, and it's from what I understand, it's not serious, but it's painful. So whatever that means, I don't know how something can be painful but not serious. But Zach Sealer is going through something, and it's just another D tackle that we don't need hurt right now. While Kadeem is modeling the Go Time Dolphins jersey. That's a tough jersey though. Hey, we might have to give one of those away.
Well, I do need to get a new one with the year we actually started the podcast, which wasn't 2019, it was 2020. But you know, we'll get there eventually. Probably on my list of things to get this year. But no, a few last things that Coach McDaniel did say. James Blackman will get some snaps. You'll probably see 2 or 4 a series / a quarter. Skylar Thompson for a quarter / 2 quarters, and then Blackman will finish the game. He also said that Jacksonville's plan to use its starters on Saturday will have no impact on what the Dolphins do. As expected, it's always going to happen. Mike McDaniel defended Tua about what Ryan Clark said. We don't need to get into that, but, you know, it was also one of those things where it was always going to happen. And I guess that's basically everything that they've said about, you know, Saturday's game, a bit of what's happened about Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, it should be an interesting game. It should. I think more people are willing to tune in now, especially that the stars are going to play, you know, how Tua is going to look. We probably might not see Tyreek. No, I think we'll probably see Tyreek Hill. Probably won't see Jalen Waddle, given that they've kind of kept him out a few times. But I did say on the last episode, I wanted to see True Williams and friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones, and that probably might happen even more now, given that we're going to see some starters. And Lane, thank you very much for saying clean jersey.
Hey, we doing a bonus time today?
Yeah, we can do a very quick one.
I mean, I didn't have nothing for bonus time, and I think my audio is a bit choppy, so I didn't know we wanted to do that.
Then no bonus time it is. Guys, thank you for joining us. If you haven't already...
Hold on. I still gotta see us out though. Like,
I'm saying,
you know what I'm saying?
you
ain't gonna let me do my outro?
I was gonna say, you know, I was gonna plug all the different social medias and then throw it to you, and then we'll get, you know, the end credits and all that kind of stuff. So that's where I was going. So yeah.
It's preseason for us too. It's preseason.
It's all good. So yeah, if you haven't already, share, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, you know, comment, all the good stuff. You know, sign up or join, follow us on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok. We now got a Patreon going at Go Time Dolphins. We've got a Madden 24 giveaway, Patreon only. We've got a giveaway on the review episode. That's a goal giveaway. Shout out to the babe on that one. Not my babe, by the way. Not my babe at all. Just saying that. That's just saying it. But yeah, that's but yeah. I guess that's it from me. Charlie, do what you gotta do.
Hey, listen, I actually disagree though, real quick before we go. I disagree. I still think we love this running back room, but Chris Greer's job is to see the future too. So a lot of these running backs, this is their last year on the contract. So he has to see the running back room of next year and the years beyond that. So that's why we want longevity in that position. So I think 2 things can be true. Look, we're happy if we don't get these running backs. That's why we lowballed Dalvin Cook. And if and you know, no one really wants to do business with Chris Greer anymore anyway, because he's hitting everybody in the head and making the people laughing stocks with these trades. So they're probably a little reluctant to work with us. But it is what it is if we don't bring in JT. I will say this about Patreon. We have easy money easy money segment on Fins Up Fridays during the season. I give you the Dolphins best bets during the season. On Patreon, I'm going to give away all the secrets of the NFL. Like, look, I'm gonna give you all the best bets that I come up with for myself. I'm giving them away on Patreon. So y'all rock with us on Patreon, and you will have exclusive access to the bets that I make in the NFL. So appreciate y'all rocking with us. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime.